Okay, part two. So there were so many cards there. I quickly went through the book and got out got the gist of what they were all kind of saying. So yeah, so we'll start with Maat. So she's pretty much like the scales of justice, and when you think of that, like weighing your heart with against a feather. So, that in itself is kind of like, taking the responsibility on yourself to really check that within yourself as you go through your life day to day. Are you living your life? Are you expressing you? Are you light within yourself? What is holding you down? What is a weight on you? Are you putting that weight on yourself? Can you remove that weight? Is someone else putting that weight on you that isn't your weight? So it's really, living that life of authenticity and truth and, self-realization, self-acceptance, feeling good with yourself. And, we all want to get to that point where we're happy with ourselves, where we are comfortable in our own skin, where we're at peace with who we are, that we know that we're being who we want to be, doing what we want to do, and that is, the mission in life, that we're all, it's enlightenment, it's living the good life. We kind of all want to reach that state of where, feeling as light as a feather. So, when this life is at its end, that we can say, there are no regrets. We were who we were, and we removed all that shit that wasn't ours from, So that's kind of the general gist of Maat, and living that kind of life, and being that kind of role model for others as well, to release what is not yours, release what is weighing you down. I thought it was a beautiful one, contentment, and that follows on from Maat, being content within yourself and who you are and what you're doing and all that. Hers is like dancing, love, and create without anxiety, eternal youth. I kind of interpret it as that inner child being free and easy and enjoying yourself and enjoying your life, and that is being who you were born to be and being okay with that, and that makes you light. That makes you a light being. That raises your frequency. And I think that kind of taps in with what I'm feeling with this new moon, the reset, the new beginnings, the removing the stuff that does not work anymore for this beautiful new space that we're moving into and everything. So next, Helen of Troy, the unique beauty, the real beauty of your spirit being expressed. So it's that unique essence within ourselves, like I was talking about before, like, feeling that, realizing that, and expressing that who we are, like our soul expression, our childlike self, our true self, and the beauty of that. And when that starts coming out and you become that lightness of being, that light being, that is when, that's when that, you know, that saying is beauty comes from within. You know, it shines, that true beauty, that unique beauty of you shines out when you embrace and express your true nature, your true self. And you know, that is what is like this, you know, this feminine power, the divine feminine power, this essence, the that X factor. You know, people have that charisma. It's just, you know, thing that, you know, people that are really embracing and expressing their true selves, or that authenticity, that the highest frequency of, you know, stuff is authenticity. And when you're expressing that, you're that light, it comes out. You know, it says you glow. Yeah, you're a light being. When you become your authentic self, and that is true beauty. You know, feminine, masculine, man, woman. You know, this goes for both. Like, we have both within us. So the guys, when you're expressing your true freaking, you know, all that feminine essence within you, that creative, that you know, that fertility, that power of being you, you know, there's, you know, your feminine's coming out, and you got your swagger going on. And that's, you know, it's the same, kind of the same thing. So next one's Hera, commitment. So yeah, I was reading a bit about Hera. So she's got a bit of a bad name. You know, she became a very extremely jealous, dark, feminine kind of goddess type. You know, there's a lot of stories there. But basically, I kind of got with this one. Well, obviously there is, like, we all have the ability, or you know, we all have this aspect of ourselves, you know, the dark side, or that, you know, if we kind of attach ourselves to things from a place of attachment, we haven't really looked at closely, like if it's misplaced loyalty, you know, that type of thing, we're holding on to something that no longer is working for us. So this kind of goes in. So if we hold on to something that no longer works for us, just because out of the ego or whatever, that we just want to hold on to it because we've always done it, or it's a, you know, we've always had it in our lives, so we're holding on to it. You know, that type of thing, it can turn, you know, it may have started off as a great kind of, you know, loyalty to have, but like, if we're not monitoring, if we're not, you know, releasing what doesn't work for us anymore, you know, these things, if we're holding on to these things that don't longer work for us, it can become toxic. We can become toxic. Our behavior can become toxic. It can come out in ways like comparison, jealousy, aggression, you know, that type of thing. So in that case, you know, you can have these, for example, we'll go with the feminine here, because Hera is the classic example of a divine feminine turned to dark feminine, you know, instead of the other way around, like so many goddesses kind of have their stories. But Hera is like the example of a light feminine, or, you know, something pure turned dark. So, you know, I guess it's just another one of these things, like, you know, this is a good time to really assess our commitments that we have. You know, are they healthy? You know, do we really look at our relationships, look at our loyalties? Are they matching our, you know, path forward? Are they holding us back? Are they, you know, are they giving us good vibes or bad vibes? You know what I mean? Like, are they lifting us or are they holding us back? Yeah, and the self trust, the guts, the strength that it takes to look at these loyalties, relationships, commitments, and to reassess, in order to know and in order to make the right decisions for you and your growth and movement forward. That's kind of what I got out of that one. And then we've got the Easter. So this goddess is actually where Easter came from, like spring, new beginnings, dawn. She's really relative to the whole reset this moon's beginning, taking us into. So I've got down hope and surety that things will change for the better. So yeah, it's just kind of that spring vibe, the Easter vibe of like, chicks hatching and Easter eggs and spring and things budding, and just knowing that is coming. Like, we know that Easter is coming. We know Easter. We know that spring is coming. We know that after winter, after the cold and dark places, it will get better. There will be new, beautiful little things budding and growing, and little baby bunnies running around. Like, it's that hope and surety of better things to come after going through some, dark winter or dark night of the soul in this case, or that kind of thing. And hope for better times definitely gets us through some amazingly dark times, terrible dark times, but it's like your hope and faith, and you keep that in your sights, that's where you'll end up, it is almost like the magnet, what you have in your mind and what you're keeping in your heart. If you know what's going to come for you, that's where you'll be drawn to, and that is the power of manifestation, as well. Sekhmet, healthy release of emotions, purging the old, building emotional authenticity. So Sekhmet is pretty much the opposite of Hera, in what, like, the story of Sekhmet is like she kind of went from dark feminine to light feminine, like that's her kind of story, intertwined with Bastet, and that whole thing's a little bit confusing as well. But basically, the story that I kind of got is like when she met Ptah, and she was kind of the in the dark feminine, and when she met her soul companion Ptah, that love enabled her, or triggered her into her light awakening type thing, into the divine feminine. So I relate to that story as well, like with Sekhmet. Anyway, so she's kind of the opposite of Hera, the opposite kind of story there, that you can, all of us, even if we're in our dark feminine and stuck in our shadow, we all have that strength and inner fire, crazy bitch dedication to break through those patterns and enter the divine feminine space, and that is the courage and strength and the fight to, you know, release those toxic emotions, patterns, holding us back. So I've got here healthy release of emotions, purging the old, building emotional authenticity. Yeah, so it's pretty much, you know, releasing what is not you from inside, like looking at your shadow, dealing with it, releasing it, not just burying it. You know, you've got the strength and courage to look at it, deal with it, and it's like you transmute it by shining your attention, your light on it. You dissolve your shadow, and that is that responsibility of working through your shadow. It's having the courage to look at it and accept it, and by doing that, it kind of dissolves. But yeah. And Kali, very much the same energy there as Sekhmet. Is overcoming the fears as well. Like Kali is very much like freaking embrace your power. You do have the courage to look at your shadow. Freaking by doing it, you can bloody become a powerful mother freaking goddess. You freaking can use that shadow to slay all your foes within yourself and everything. Like she's kind of just kind of shows like, yeah, this is freaking me. I've faced my shadow. It's made me strongest freaking thing out there, and hear me roar type thing. Yeah, so I've got here, overcome fears, express them, do not repress them, clear your shadow space by looking into it. It is up to you what you keep and what you release. It's just like that full empowerment and responsibility, ownership of self and your strength to do whatever you want to do. And the knowledge, the power of what your shadow can give you if you dive into it is astounding, and that's really what Kali represents, I think, from freaking owning. You own your dark feminine, and that dark feminine brings you your light feminine such power. It's like uniting the two. And that's a strong motherfucking woman right there. And then we've got Joan of Arc, faith in self, holding on to your dreams with a fighter's might, trust your own leadership of self. I think that's very similar to what I was saying with Kali Maat. So yeah, I mean, for example, like Joan of Arc had to really, what she overcame to follow her mission was freaking astounding. So having that faith in your path, in what you want to do, and constantly working on holding on to that, no matter what life throws you, holding on to your faith in yourself, that you're going where you need to go. And we can add in that faith and that holding on to that connection. I found, that connection gives me that courage to hold on to that faith for myself. It's like that faith of the connection, of feeling that connection, gives me that much more trust and faith in myself that I can do it. And I think that's really kind of the message of Joan of Arc as well. It's like, you're not alone. Like, you've got backing, and if you're, having a shit day and kind of like, I need some extra faith today, we've got that right behind us, that connection, to really tap into. And basically, I think, and if you actually sat down with any of these guides and had a chat, they would all say that it's that connection that gave them the freaking power to find the power within themselves in order to do what they did and continue to do, apparently. Alright, so onto the divine masculine. And it's like, remember that we've got both these within us, within ourselves. So, feel the power of your virility, your vital essence. Nothing can touch that power of spirit. It is yours. Realize it and release it. See, like, I mean, even with that, we'll see. I mean, very similar to what, the Kalima, Sekhmet, they're kind of all saying very similar things with that inner power, that unique spirit within you is your power, that authentic self, that nothing can touch. That is you, no matter what. It is always in there. We lose sight of it, but it is always in there if we can tap into it. That is the freaking power. That is the power center of our power, of our, get up and go, our faith, our everything. And, by working through our shadow and all that, getting rid of what no longer works for us, getting rid of that old weights, blah, blah, blah. We work down to our core essence, our true self or authenticity. That's when we get there, and that is when we find our true freaking power, which just, it blows everything. That none of that stuff can come back again. Once, you find that inner power within yourself, and you get that and start expressing it, and then, you truly realize that nothing else can affect you. No one can put their shit on you anymore. No one can add weight to you unless you choose to accept that. It is really beautiful space to be in, that self-sovereign power state within yourself. And, that's a healthy, it's just that healthy centeredness that when you find yourself, and that's Ra, that masculine, divine, masculine power, wisdom, Thoth, the thrice greatest. Trust that you know you. Trust that you know, and trust that you know you. Source of wisdom within. God, trusting yourself. I don't think we talk about this enough, that I think the biggest problem is that we've been taught not to trust ourselves, and we really need to build, all this inner work is like building the trust in yourself, and it's like, you got to be your own backer constantly, of reminding yourself, right? No, you know who you are, you know what you want, you know where you want to go, you know that you can handle stuff, you know that you can make decisions for yourself, you know that you know. And it's holding that self-assuredness that you cannot be affected by someone trying to put weight on your scales, someone trying to, get one over you, or get you off course, or just life, you know, even if something happens and it's just something shit, you gotta know within yourself that you can handle it, and spring will come again, you know, type thing. It's the inner trust and that inner dialogue to get you through those times of that you know, that inner power type thing. Prometheus, healthy balance of self and others. Know the boundaries between the two, where you are and they begin. So the healthy balance of self and others, because Prometheus is kind of about kind of service for the good of all. So if you kind of think about that, I kind of I don't know where to start with that. So yeah, healthy balance of self and others is so obviously when we're working on ourselves and we find our balance and we know where we're going, and then something comes in, someone comes in, others come in, something happens, and then, you know, that healthy balance has to kind of balance with what is going on. And you know, if someone comes in and disrupts our balance, it can put our balance out of balance. They can try and, you know, maybe the weights get chucked on our scales type thing, and then we have to reassess, is it ours or is it not? So it's kind of similar again with the other stuff, and having the boundaries and having that mindset of looking at how much am I going to put into this? Am I going to take this on? Or do I need to put a boundary up here? It's not mine. Or, you know, or do I need to readjust my life balance type thing, my inner balance in order to handle this? You know, that type of thing. It's kind of like a constant state of you handling your scales and trusting yourself that you're able to handle it, and it's like you're not allowing anyone else to manhandle your scales. You're in charge of them, and you need to take responsibility for looking and feeling how things are going at all times. Like, you know, if something's been chucked on and you're like this, and then you get you know, resentful for being out of balance, and you know, and you're blaming someone else, and you know, you need to assess whether or why it was you that allowed it. Like, why did we let someone chuck their weight on our scales? So that's where the, you know, the boundaries come in, and having that kind of, yes, I am willing to be of service, and I'm not a dickhead. Like, I do want to contribute to my community, and I do want to have beautiful relationships, but these are my scales, and you know, I need to work, you know, with them. And so yes, that kind of, the self-assessment of your balance is your responsibility, and an extremely important thing that we need to master in order not to be completely thrown out of balance and shit going haywire. So that's what I kind of got out of that. And also a big one that came through, like, for the good of all. So for the good of all, like, obviously we don't just throw a weight back at someone else because it's going to put you out of balance. Like, for the good of all, like, this is why we have to assess and prioritize, and am I going to take this on? Like, you got to look at the whole situation, how it will work for everyone, and this goes for everyone. I mean, it's not just, this is where, you know, healthy relationships comes into, if we're talking about relationships, even work relationships, you know, when it comes in like healthy relationships, it can't be done just by one person, and it only works when everyone's kind of on board with looking at and balancing the scales together. And sometimes, you know, if it's not reciprocal type thing, if it's not a healthy dynamic going on, sometimes you do just have to balance your scales, say this is it. You know, you have to assess the situation and make these decisions for yourself, or, you know, see how to work with it. Yeah, I'll move on from that one. You stamina, focused intent. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the fight to do you, right? It's the fight to be you and to have that dedication and resiliency to hold on to that, where you hold on to yourself and where you're going, where you want to go. So also with him, it came through, it was like the Olympian mindset. So if you imagine what an Olympian, whether it's the Olympian gods or an Olympian, what they have to go through to get, you know, to the lead up to the Olympics, like the dedication and the mindset, you know, they've got a freaking plan and they're working towards it, and to have that dedication and strength and courage to just to keep going with it. And you know, that is the kind of mindset that you have to bring to yourself in finding, that journey of self, of finding and looking into your shadow, and just keep looking at it. You kind of, each time you look at it and something comes up with it, you're diluting it, you know, each time, and you just got to keep doing it, and keep finding that courage, keep finding the hope and faith, and keep unearthing more of yourself and finding your path. And that is the kind of dedication that, you know, you do have to put to yourself and your self-sovereignty and living your life. Like, we do have to be that dedicated to ourselves and who we are and where we want to go. Hermes. So Hermes is emotional intelligence, integrity, communication, authentic expression. Like the commitment to self, as being the true you. So that's communication, like pure authentic communication with yourself. Authentic, like communication, vision, action within yourself, for yourself, and with the world. It's like, I do what I say I'll do, you know, it's that kind of thing. Complete integrity. Or, you know, like, that is what self-sovereignty is, and that's what we are working towards. That you can absolutely trust yourself, and what you can trust yourself, and where you're going and what you're doing and how you're feeling and how you're expressing yourself, and then others, because you trust yourself and you are who you are, and you do who you are, and you say who you are, you're authentic. Others can trust that, and that yeah, you know what I mean, type thing. Yeah, I had a mind then. Achilles, self-esteem, self-trust, self-mastery, self-sovereignty, knowing thyself. Same kind of thing, right? that's where our true strength is, of building that within ourselves through freaking, yeah. Oh my god, I think my mind's shutting down. I'm gonna have to stop soon. So we've got Poseidon flow, creativity, embracing your natural power state. Your flow is your spirit expressing yourself. So yeah, when you get to the flow state, that is your pure authenticity. When you feel completely authentic, you're in your flow. Whichever way you want to look at it, say it, phrase it, that's when you're just moving. You're moving where that magnet's freaking pulling you. That's when you're in your flow. That's when you're being authentic. Yeah. And Shiva's me timbers. Yeah, so Shiva again is kind of like the Ra, the Kali. It is absolute freaking dedication of self-mastery and completely shattering your shadow. But not only that, you're freaking grabbing it. It's like you fight your demons, but you don't just like lock them up or get rid of them or whatever. You actually make them start working for you, and then you like 10 times dosed your inner strength and power because you've mastered your demons. They now are your friends and they're working for you. And now you've got like freaking 100 freaking demons behind you doing helping you do your work, and you just become this yeah, it's like they're not even demons anymore because you've actually convinced them that they're freaking all angels. So now you've got freaking just 50 hard ass previous demon, now angel beings like within you. That is the kind of Kali Ma Shiva type thing, is that you know, you don't just slay your demons, like that, you know, if you actually look at them and work with them in a certain way that they actually say, oh shit, I actually want to work for this woman. Yeah, I'm now yours. I'm now on your team. So yeah, that's the kind of Kali Shiva thing, is that why waste that power in that demon when you can have it work for you? And I'm not saying that we become, you know, the negative mindset. You've turned that demon, that dark shadow part of yourself, into a light being. They're freaking now like Archangel Michaels with their freaking, you know, big swords. Like they've come out of the dark. They know all. They know all those dark places, all those dark beings, and now they're in the light. And that, you know, that's kind of that whole vibe of the strength of coming out of the dark. That's one really powerful being, and that is who we become when we battle and look at our shadow and we embrace our shadow, and don't deny it. There's a lot of power, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of, you know, yeah, to add to us. That's when, you know, I feel like you really do become enlightened when you actually say, you know, shadow your mind, let's work together and get this bitch. You know, we can do this. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm like worn out now, I think. Hopefully I can manage to put those two videos together, but if not, just sorry about the part 1, part 2, but technologically challenged. have a good full moon eclipse, and I hope these reset energies and new beginnings bring wondrous things for you all.